What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and in this one, Michigan got some great news over the weekend as they will be returning 2 edge rushers on the defensive line. Also go over the latest on bowl game opt-outs for Michigan, as well as player retention on players like Rod Moore, also Kenneth Grant. Then we also got the latest transfer portal news for Michigan, as it is no longer looking good for Michigan to land the Maryland transfer quarterback Billy Edwards. Also got some news on the Alabama transfer running back Justice Haynes, also a new offensive tackle target for Michigan, and a 5-star offensive tackle visiting Michigan over the weekend. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so Michigan did get some good news on Saturday as both Derek Moore and TJ Guy, 2 edge rushers and defensive linemen for Michigan, said on Saturday that they are currently planning to return for their final seasons of eligibility and planning on returning to Michigan next season. Now, it did seem like it was a pretty good chance Michigan was going to be able to get them back. Both of them combined for 7.5 sacks this season, along with 52 pressures. We saw TJ Guy really come along late in the season. He really stepped up on the defensive line. And Derek Moore, while he didn't really have that many sacks this season, did contribute a lot and really contributed to a lot of Josiah Stewart's sacks this season, as he kind of, forced the quarterback at times to go towards Josiah Stewart's side. So that is absolutely big time news for Michigan, getting 2 veteran edge rushers back on the defensive line. Now, Derek Moore, he did say, according to Aaron McMahon of MLive, that I just want to help turn this program back to what it was. He said, I want to win one more national title, one more Big Ten championship game. He said, I want to leave Michigan the right way. And he said, I made a promise to Coach Sharon Moore and my inner self, just coming back to help Michigan get back to where it needs to be. He said, some of the older guys are going to come back and help with that. And I feel like we're in a good spot right now. And I also have trust in Coach Moore going to get more guys. So that is really big time news for Michigan on the defensive line, and obviously Michigan is looking to work on getting back Rod Moore for next season. They did get their kicker back out of Dominic Zavada, which was absolutely huge, and this coaching staff did say already that player retention was going to be focused on more before they make all these NIL deals for transfer portal players. Obviously they're still going to be going after transfer portal targets and still doing all of that, but the focus is more so on player retention with players like Rod Moore and obviously Derek Moore, TJ Guy. There's also other players that Michigan's trying to get back, like defensive tackle Rayshawn Benny. Now the guys that have already declared for the NFL draft include left tackle Miles Hitton, tight end Colson Loveland, defensive tackle Mason Graham, cornerback Will Johnson. Also, Donovan Edwards did say that he will not be playing in the bowl game for Michigan, which opens the door up for a guy like freshman running back Jordan Marshall potentially getting some more snaps in that game against Alabama, especially with Khalil Mullings, who many expect to miss the bowl game as he prepares for the Senior Bowl in his NFL career. So we could see a lot more from Benjamin Hall, Jordan Marshall, also freshman Micah Kapana, who the coaching staff has loved so far. Apparently, we did see him get some carries against Northwestern. So we're going to start to see some of these younger guys get action here in the bowl game against Alabama. One player who has not announced that they're going to be declaring for the NFL draft is defensive tackle Kenneth Grant, and he does have a decision to make. Michigan appears to be, hopeful that he could come back if they give him a huge NIL deal. According to Chris Ballas of the Wolverines, he said that Michigan was holding out hope he could come back on a huge NIL deal. However, right now it sounds like he is leaning towards an NFL announcement, but he has not announced anything. He hasn't made the decision yet. So Michigan, that's a big one right there. It's obviously not likely he comes back because he is a projected first-round draft pick. However, obviously Michigan's pitch to him is not only the NIL deal they could give him, but also making him into a top 5 pick or top 10 pick like Mason Graham appears to be. But we'll see what happens. As far as the transfer portal on the defensive line, Michigan really going after the Kentucky defensive tackle Keyshawn Silver, who was on a visit this weekend, also planning to visit Florida, Miami, and USC, which is his top 4 schools right now. We also did get news today that the quarterback transfer target for Michigan, the Maryland quarterback Billy Edwards Jr., he is now trending towards Wisconsin as Pete Nakos and Steve Wiltfong flipped their predictions and put him in favor for Wisconsin. And it comes after he canceled his visit to Michigan. He was supposed to visit Michigan on Monday today, but he canceled that. He did take a weekend visit to Wisconsin, so this is pretty evident that it's going to be very hard for Michigan to land a transfer quarterback with the presence of the 5-star quarterback Bryce Underwood in the room, and potentially, starting right away or starting early in the season as a freshman. So it's going to be hard for Michigan. Everybody knows that, or at least every transfer quarterback knows that they're going to have to compete against a player like Bryce Underwood. So also obviously doesn't help landing a transfer portal quarterback when Bryce Underwood is listed by some as a top candidate to win the 2025 Heisman, as Bryce Underwood hasn't even set foot in campus yet, but the hype is already real, and deservedly so. I mean, this is a generational talent staying in the state of Michigan, going to Michigan. So that's the latest there on the transfer portal quarterback target. Billy Edwards no longer looking that good for Michigan. We'll see where else Michigan goes, as they do look to land a quarterback from the transfer portal, but obviously it's going to be very hard right now. And we do got an update on the Alabama transfer running back, the top running back in the transfer portal, Justice Haynes, as a couple of schools have entered the mix for him, as we obviously talked about Michigan, Ohio State being early schools to watch for, but he is currently expected to visit Ole Miss in South Carolina this week, according to Matt Zenitz of 24/7 Sports and CBS. He did state that Michigan is another team that seems to be in the mix for the former 5-star recruit. It would be an absolutely big time land for Michigan, as again, not necessarily Michigan needs another running back, but they could definitely use a playmaker like Justice Haynes added to the running back room, not only for depth, but I mean, he would be either the starter or running back 2 for Michigan. And you also got guys like Jordan Marshall, Benjamin Hall, Micah Kapana. That room would be looking very good going into next season if they added a guy like Justice Haynes. We also got news on a new offensive line target, as Cal Poly offensive lineman Brady Norton, as he is expected to visit Michigan on Monday, according to Pete Nakos of On3. He's a 6'4", 290-pound offensive tackle, one of the top offensive tackles in the FCS in 2024, and Michigan has offered him. So that's another offensive line target for Michigan. I also wanted to talk about the 2026 #1 recruit in 5-star offensive tackle Jackson Cantwell, as he comes from the state of Missouri. He is 6'8", 300 pounds, and he recently visited Michigan over the weekend, and he told Bryce Marich of the Michigan Insider that it went great. Loved getting to meet with the coaches, talk ball, and learn about life opportunities that Michigan provides. He did say that I'd say their player development program and how in-depth their scheme talk with me was what surprised him the most. And he said, I think Michigan is a great program. I will be considering when I can come back in the future. So Michigan a top school for the top recruit in the 2026 class. But with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.